From Albert controlling Jandel's admin powers to unleashing a weather event that nearly broke the game, here's how this event just exposed the biggest secret in Grow a Garden. If you look closer, you'll realize that these aren't just any robots, they're junkbots. So today, I'll show you how this event connects to Albert's original junkbot raid from nearly 5 years ago, reveal all the hidden Easter eggs you missed, and show you why Sam might be in trouble with Albert's new plans. It all started with a floating Albert, and this wasn't just a random server glitch. This was Flamingo waking up to start his torture on the players. Meteors began falling from the sky, and the weather events started colliding. Yeah, I sure hope these weather events don't crash our game later.
Dial top is overheating.
Usually an hour before an update drops, Jandel spawns in shooting his pink lasers from his eyes. Yet this time it was Albert shooting blue lasers. So in your opinion, who had a better Superman? I just wish his lasers would have mutated my plans, but this evil Albert wasn't even the scariest part. It seems Mr. Flim Flam aka Flamingo aka Albert is enjoying his admin powers a little too much. This is my impression of Flamingo. I'm reporting you. This chaos has been building up for years and Jandel was not prepared. But were you prepared to see a giant Albert falling from the sky? I guess Creekcraft wasn't. Yeah, this was Albert's method to restock the seed and gear shop by squashing millions of players at once. And this is way more violent than Jandel's restock hammer we saw previously. At least this time Albert didn't get stuck to the side of the map like Jandel, but that's not to say that Albert wasn't hanging around the edge. Yeah, he soon began begging players to grab his hand, and well, they tried and most of them died.
No!
Ouch. And this isn't the first incident where Albert or Flamingo has tried to harm innocent players. And it won't be the last.
It pains me to do this.
So what's the deal with Albert demanding oil or else we're all doomed? You see, Grow Garden was not the first to have admin events. No, it was actually 5 years ago in the Junkbot lobby. Here, 200,000 players were dressed as Junkbots and they stood in front of a giant Albert.
You got me burning and then a Junkbot just, standing and living his life.
It's almost like that's happening in Grow Garden right now. But back then the players were shouting for oil or boil, rather than demanding master sprinklers or burning buds. Weird, right? But remember that phrase oil or boil because it's gonna be the reason why Grow Garden is either saved or destroyed.
Vote now to save Grow a Garden.
As the timer counted down, the Junkbots were teleported into the hood. Here they had the objective to kill any players who were not Junkbots. And I'm not kidding, nearly 200,000 Junkbots were murdering thousands of innocent players. And back then the Roblox engineers could not handle this event. Even the Roblox avatar page crashed. Yeah, it's hard to believe that now we're able to have a lobby with 20 million players at once. And what's even harder to believe is that during this raid, the first ever global message was sent.
All right, they're telling me they understand.
Now, the global message isn't important itself, but it's who created it. Yeah, a cool little Easter egg is that Jandel was actually the creator of the first global message. So Jandel and Albert actually have a lot of history together.
We had to keep it a secret because we thought he'd get in trouble.
But why are they now suddenly fighting over admin control? Maybe it's because Albert was abusing too much and he spawned in several spaceships that were deploying thousands of Junkbots at once. Yeah, it seems he's never let go of the Junkbot raid.
All right.
And these Junkbots were causing the players to lag due to the crazy destruction of the map. At least Albert doesn't have access to destruction physics. That would be bad. But what he does have the ability to do is teleport all the players to one location or server at once. Which makes me wonder, what would happen if Albert teleported 20 million Grow Garden players at once? Back in the day, teleporting 200,000 players at once caused a major lag spike in Roblox. So I imagine teleporting 20 million players today would shut down Roblox probably for an entire week. Heck, the Roblox headquarters would probably burst into flames. But here's the thing, Albert always has a plan behind his destruction. This time his Junkbot army was after one thing: oil. But turns out when they smashed into our gardens looking for oil, they ironically self-destructed and spilled their own oil onto our plants. I did not know that Grow Garden added a terrorism update. Let's just hope Roblox's memory is just as bad as Albert's. Yeah, Jandel might not be lying about his 60-second memory, as Albert forgot to drop a restock, which always happens during an admin abuse. Yeah, that's why it took so long for the players to get an admin restock. But when Jandel reminded him to do this, he made sure to deliver. Albert immediately summoned even more Junkbots, started a meteor shower, and aggressively dropped himself on the map time and time again to restock the shop. Players started crashing before they could even claim their burning buds. It's safe to say that this Albert stock was limited to the players whose devices didn't burst into flames. Yeah, even Albert's laptop started overheating.
Dial top is overheating.
But if he did survive this chaos, you may have noticed that this chicken released soon after. It looks normal and cute, right? But players soon remembered that during the original Junkbot raid, Albert owned a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And it was under some serious investigation because a secret gun shop was being ran in the back of the store.
Everyone, I gotta crawl out the window. I was never even here.
I can't believe this chicken is teasing a Grow a Garden gun update. Yeah, even a fellow YouTuber made this callback, but I don't think that was on purpose. I think that was just an error in the subtitles. And there are tons of Easter eggs you still missed. Like the biggest one being that this Junkbot raid in Grow a Garden may have just ended the 5-year Junkbot war. If you remember, I said Junkbots had a mission to destroy and terrorize any innocent players. Well, now they've teleported to Grow a Garden using their spaceships, and they were about to test their destruction against 20 million players. But I want to test something myself. For every 1,000 subs gained in this video, I will give away 1 lobster thermidor. So leave your Roblox username in the comment section down below and subscribe to enter. Now back to the Junkbot raid that nearly wiped out all of Grow a Garden's progress and even your own garden. However, Jandel was not going to let these robots take over, and he started his own event. The voting process began. The players had to vote for either oil or boil. Now I bet most of you had no idea what you were voting for until you watched this video. Heck, you still might be a little confused. But basically, Junkbots live on oil. It's like their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I wonder if their ice cream's made out of oil. But you can probably guess that boil does the opposite. And luckily, the players voted for boil, and suddenly a hot, steamy water rained from the clouds. And the Junkbots, well, they slowly disappeared. So yeah, they basically died, is what I'm trying to say. Thankfully, instead of the players being killed off by the Junkbots, they voted to save the day and protect not only themselves, but their gardens as well. I'm glad I voted for the right side. Because if the Junkbots did get their oil, well, you can say goodbye to all your plants, and all that would be left is probably a few pets. And luckily, Grow Garden just gave us the pet preset update. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool that we can cycle through our pets and place down them basically instantaneously. But now that the players won the battle against the Junkbots, I guess the remaining Junkbots got turned into pets. Yeah, around 10 minutes left in the event, a Junkbot appeared in my hands. I'm just glad it's not turning into a green missile like before. This guy might turn on me any second. And its ability is pretty cool, as it has the chance to apply the oil mutation. Man, these little guys are still demanding oil, even as our pets. But what I'm curious to see is if they will ever add a pet that gives the boil mutation. And if we don't see a pet, we could possibly see some oil or boil sprays come to some sort of traveling merchant. We already have so many, like the sky merchant, the honey merchant, and I think that could happen. But the merchant would most likely be Albert and spawn right beside Sam. And with Albert's crazy seed stock he forced upon Sam, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to sell the seeds himself. And that means he'll take over Sam's business. I mean, if Albert had constant burning butts in stock, I would never buy from Sam ever again. But what happened after the event might shock you, because our final Easter egg is actually on top of this chicken we teased earlier. Yes, this is the Sunnyside chicken, and on his head is a literal busted egg. Okay, I said that to cover up the true drama. You may have missed the end of the event when Jandel started beefing with the owner of Steal a Brain Ride, saying that Albert and I walked so that people like Sammy Spider could steal her ideas and run. Let me know if you guys were there for this, and it's funny because literally they steal a brain ride. So if you learned anything at all, make sure to check out this other video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Bye!